Welcome to the Feminae Christi Podcast, a labor of universal love in service to restoring the divine feminine principle, spoken through wisdom, eternal love, and devotion to immaculate truth. I'm your host, Salwa, here in sacred devotion to walking this journey with you, not from a place of above or below, but from within. Hi, welcome to the Feminae Christi Podcast, episode 2. If you are just now tuning in, I invite you to please listen to episode 1. It lays out a lot of good introduction and intentionality behind what this podcast and sacred space container truly is. So please listen to that and then come and join for this. I want to share 2 disclaimers real quick. One, this thing I'm wearing, if you're watching on video, is my mic. I'm not wearing some secret symbol for anything. I can't wait for them to make these things like gold or like sparkly. But for now, hey, it's not bad, right? It's better than this giant thing in front of me. And 2, the cadence of this podcast. I will be doing bi-weekly episodes. Bi-weekly for now feels really good until my team tells me otherwise. And I could see that it might pick up at some point. But for now, bi-weekly, there's a lot of energy that goes into these. And there's no script. There's no plan, truly. They will just kind of let me know when it's a recording day, and I will just hope and pray that it falls on that bi-weekly timeline. So I knew that at some point this week I was going to record the episode that was going to be released by that 2-week mark. And indeed, they let me know this morning. So I did what I had to do to create this time and space, and here we are. Today, we are going to kick off a bit of a journey. Those of you that have worked in plant medicine are like, oh, but no, not that kind of journey. No medicine needed. You are the medicine, okay? This is a journey where you are the medicine and you're going to be receiving beyond words. So what I was guided to talk about today is part of a 7-episode series. The visual that I was given was 7 planetary spheres through which we have to go through to descend to be here. These spheres are a bit of an initiation of dissension, which then you get to graduate for ascension. It's almost like going through a bit of an optical course, a challenge, right? So you are like up there and you want to descend to be on planet Earth. And every sphere throws something on you, like throw on the shawl, throw on the necklace. I don't know why my spheres are so fashionable. Well, I think I know. You throw on these layers. You throw on these layers and you are committing as a soul that you are going to learn and by experience and by embodied action, transcend these spheres to be able to graduate to your ascension. And that is part of what you're signing up for. You understand the assignment, and the assignment is a gift. So we have these 7 planetary spheres that you descend through. These spheres are tied to the ego. They're not fully the ego, but they are tied to the ego. So your ego starts to embody aspects of a personality that have a connection to a sphere. That's all you need to know. You have your ego, which has encoded in it 7 spheres of this. And you have your own optical challenge by way of which you are going to ascend. Now, we have a teacher, a master teacher of embodied transcendence of these spheres, which some might perceive as darkness. Because who wants to put on a sphere? Well, actually, like now I take it back that I call my shawl and my necklace darkness. It's weight. It's an optical challenge. Who wants to throw that on and perceive it as light when it is causing a little bit of separation from the light? Not a lot of people. We want to look at it as like darkness. So how does this tie to Feminae Christi, this teacher, this embodied teacher, this master that has mastered the art of this blueprint of ascension by way of embodiment? Now, the Feminae Christi embodiment of mastering this has taken on many names. But because this is such a big lifetime, and in the words of Band Train with Yeshua, I'm just going to say the one where we got famous, because these characters, like I said, have metaphorically lived different storylines. We will bring in Miriam, Magdalene. She's master teacher of how to by embodied action, transcend these 7 spheres. This is not something that, let's say, darkness wants you to know how to transcend easily, because in this realm, there is this balance of dark and light, and we are electing to come and fight this battle. So these are teachings that might have been wiped out at some point by some folks. Now, I'm not here to spend time or energy talking about the wiping out. They have made it very clear to me. I am not here for that so much. I'm here to help bring back the actual teachings of the embodied transcendence, the inner alchemy. So I'm going to stick to that as one of the greatest teachers of all time of transcending these 7 spheres of dissension, which some might call 7 demons. We're gifted the mystery of the 7 powers of ascension. There's not enough light shed on the gift, or there wasn't. Correction, there wasn't, because now that is changing, because it is time. Don't know why that came out with an accent, but it is time. So now we're starting to shed light on the gift of these 7 powers. But for the longest time, the story was told as the 7 demons casted out of Mary Magdalene. And Yeshua casted them out because, it's Yeshua. Like, who else for the job? And she became devoted to him. But as we're shedding light on what was actually happening, we understand that these were 7 powers to be embodied. But what I am trying to help you understand further is that these are 7 spheres of descension that every soul that descends onto this planet goes through and has to, by way of embodied action, transcend to light. It's a beautiful game of life, and these are powers that we at some point will experience having taken away from us. The gift of disempowerment is the bliss of returning to our power and attaining the wisdom that it took to get there. So it's such a gift, and I can understand why this is where we're starting. We are going to be going into our own journey of transcending or understanding the transcending. I can't promise you that you're going to fully transcend it by listening to this podcast, right? But shed a little light on the process of descension by understanding these 7 powers. So for the next 7 episodes, that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to start with the first power. The first power, which is darkness. And I know darkness is one of those taboo topics. When we're working on our light and ascension, there's this push and pull of if I give it energy, does it have power over me? Listen, you're not giving it energy by having awareness over it. Awareness is just a tool to attain wisdom. You have awareness of all the different agents around you, and you are able to, without emotional attachment, discern what is yours and what isn't. And you acquire what is yours. And by way of refinement, you shed that which isn't. So I can tell you when I started my work, a little personal note. Can I share that? I can share that. Okay. So I do a lot of ceremonial work. I'm an ordained high priestess. I will own that because that has not come easy to remember and initiate into, and the anointings that have been received. I can nothing but just own it because I step into this work so reverently and work with others. So I was doing work on this one private ceremony. This one was a very eye-opener for me to understand the dark forces. The thing is, the way I grew up, if you watch episode 1, I grew up Catholic. And then it wasn't until my graduation of expanding beyond the church, which I still massive respect for wherever you worship, but I had to understand the darkness. I had to understand that there were dark forces because I was very naive, because I grew up thinking, first of all, my household, my mom was Mexican, my dad's Lebanese. So we just don't mess with the Diablo. The Diablo is no joke. You just know, rebuke. It's usually, sometimes it's the mother-in-law. there's always a ghost in one room. There's just this whole taboo around darkness. And I understand, you don't mess around with the darkness, but it is naive and it makes you so susceptible to pretend that it doesn't exist. So what's better is to have awareness that it exists. I always tell my Temple of Light people a mantra of protection. Feel free to use it if it feels good to you, is to say, I acknowledge that there's dark. I acknowledge that there's light. I choose the light. Because now you have taken power of your awareness and your free will. I aware that there's both, and my free will is that I choose the light. So I was working on this client. I don't like the word client. These are souls that I have contracts to meet with at this time for certain aspects and parts of their path of ascension, and they're going to go on and do beautiful work themselves, is my hope. But I was working with this soul. He's trying so desperately to beat a lot of vices, addictions, just wants to be free. Path to sovereignty, it comes by way of sometimes knowing what it's like to have your life force energy completely hijacked from you. So this soul has experienced it from every direction and gives their power away to these vices. So we're in ceremony and I am working on this soul. All of a sudden I start feeling this heavy density, this energy that feels very draining to me. These are not the frequencies I like to work with. And I know something not easy is coming up. I know it because I can feel it. And I'm equipped to work with it. So I want to say that. I'm not sharing this because it's light and because I believe that anybody should be doing this work. Just know with high reverence and understanding what's happening. So I am working with the soul and I feel this almost feels honestly like a wave of just a huge wave of dark energy. And I feel like I'm getting very defeated. Like I'm getting very tired. I normally can just like for hours, but I am getting tired and this being starts communicating with me. And this being is not of the light. And just like there's the order of light, there is the order of dark. And I know that this being is associated with a legion of dark angels. And I am in heavy disbelief that I am actually having communication with it because I know who I work with. I know I'm safe. But it's a very nonchalant communication. They're not doing anything for me to feel unsafe. You know how you see in like the movies, demons come in, they're like, "Rah!" And they're like all scary. There's nothing like that. This is a very matter-of-fact conversation, telepathic conversation. And it's almost like we're in the court, the people's court, trying to win sovereignty over the soul. And this, I don't know what to call it. We'll call it thing number 2, is chatting with me and says the most cynical thing to me. You're not going to be able to get him back. And I'm wondering, who do you think you are? But I didn't say that. I said, oh, why? Because I know to tread lightly here. I know to tread lightly. I'm trying to understand what it's talking about. What do you mean? And it's letting me know, well, this person has given away their power so much. And it started naming different occasions through different ages. It's just like, it was like the movie of their life and how much power they've given away. And now keep in mind, I know who's by me. I know who I'm working with. So I know I'm safe. And I feel like it's okay to ask these questions because this thing is just like offering information. So I'm like, they gave their power away so they can take it back. Right? And it says, right. Humans have no idea how easily they give their power away. And little do they know that we have no power to do anything against them, but it is so easy to deceive them to use their power against themselves. This is kind of how the conversation is going. It is showing me a couple of places where darkness has created imbalance. I don't know why it's telling me this, but at this point, I'm going to see the gift in this. That I can have this insider information on how to course correct people that have given away their power. This is great. Thank you. Thing number 2. One of the biggest causes of imbalance that makes humans give away their power, according to it. Thing number 2. Okay, I don't know how to put this into words, so I'm going to try. The wiping out of the divine feminine, the divine mother. It showed me how the father, yes, this is metaphorical, keep in mind, has many mansions, beautiful, you have your divine inheritance. The divine mother is the nurturing, guiding force that guides you there. Without the divine mother principle, you cannot get to what is your divine inheritance that the divine masculine has built. Metaphorical. Okay, guys, you have to listen to episode number 1 if you haven't, so you understand that I'm going to be teaching very metaphorical. So imagine that your child is at school, mother, father sends their kids to school, and then school's out, and then they want to find their way home, and they can't because the voice of Divine Mother, which is your navigation system to find your way home, has been silenced. And so now the stranger with the shiny car and the yummy candy is loose and deceitfully preying on the children. And the children are so susceptible because they don't know better. They're not hearing the voice to guide them home. They're lost and they're like, well, I'm lost. I want candy. I want to ride. Let's go, stranger. So this is the imbalance that makes humanity's life force energy so hijackable. So it's telling me this. And I'm like, holy shit. I'm going to take notes tomorrow because I'm working right now. And at the end of all of this, this is the kicker. This is the kicker. And it told me is that at the end of all of this, we have no power over the human soul. We have no power over the human soul. We are powerless. They are sovereign. But we have ways to get them to use their sovereignty against themselves. And it started laughing. At this point, I'm getting mad. So then I started doing my work. I'm like, I'm done with you. Bye. You gotta go. No more conversation with thing number 2. But that information and more was like, it helped me see the sense of urgency for this restoration of balance because we're like children of God. Yes, we have this divine inheritance. Yes, but the voice that guides you there has been silenced. Like that's just entrapment, enslavement for souls that are meant to be sovereign, created to be sovereign. So that really lit a fire under my divine ass to get word out there of so much of this movement and that we're just getting started. And I know that it could not be reserved to just people that sit in ceremony with me or people that can book a session. I have to just find a way to get this out. So how do we get on this topic? Oh yeah, darkness. I got initiated into understanding how the darkness works in a couple ways like that, by experience, by doing the work. My team always had my back. I always know I'm safe. And I've done the work to always have my spheres of protection fully activated. So I want you to know that because I'm sharing this with you in this podcast doesn't mean that I encourage anybody to go into these conversations unless you truly understand how to have your spheres of protection fully activated and other channels of protection available. So just want to disclaimer that. And also I know what you're doing. Kind of important. But darkness, had to get initiated into understanding that. And as I was sitting with my team this morning and they were showing me the journey that we're going to go on for the next 7 episodes and going into darkness, I asked them, like, well, darkness is such a vast topic. Darkness means so many different things. Like, where do we start? I can't just take people on a journey with their darkness. Some people are going to go here, there, like, where do we start? And the question came to me, what is the leading conduit of darkness into humanity at this time? Besides imbalance, we know that, right? But I wanted to know what is a leading energy where they self-induce darkness. And they told me judgment. Judgment is the leading one right now. It probably always has been. I don't know. I just heard the word judgment. I don't want to put my own words to it. Judgment. Here's the thing with judgment. Judgment creates separation because you are judging by considering yourself separate from that who you are judging or who you are judging. You are creating separation that is painful for your soul. So the ego wants to judge. At times, you want to judge somebody that we perceive to think that they're so great, right? But truly what's happening is that you're judging somebody that is shining an aspect of themselves that you haven't given yourself permission to shine. For the most part, that's what it is. And as sacred mirrors to each other, which is what our collective consciousness is here to be, it is important to know the root of our judgment. Why are we judging? And it is important to know how to alchemize that action so that we don't fall prey to darkness hijacking our life force energy. You know, like that little kid making its way home from school? It doesn't know that when it's judging, it's becoming more lost because it doesn't understand that that is a conduit for one of these spheres of essentially darkness that we're here to transcend that we put on to descend. So Judgment is a huge one. And that is one that we're going to work on alchemizing right here, right now. Just giving you an example. The act of judgment, from what they show me, puts you in an island of separation from those that you are judging and does not allow you to receive the gift of inspiration that they are here to usher in for you. If you think about envy, envy is inspiration in dark state. Envy is inspiration in distorted state. And what is inspiration? Inspiration is the Holy Spirit. We are meant to be inspired by each other because we are one. So if you look at your fellow human, your fellow sister, brother, and instead of allowing yourself to be inspired, which is breath of the Holy Spirit weaving more life into your life force energy to remind you what's possible, if instead you go into judgment and envy, you are bringing in the dark. So that which showed up to inspire you is now putting you at the very vulnerable position of having your life force energy hijacked. And not only are you judging yourself, actually, you're not judging the other person. You're judging yourself because you haven't given yourself permission to be that, to do that, to say that, to wear that. You're judging yourself. So you're putting yourself in a more isolated island than you know, creating more separation from humans that maybe the divine is, they need this person in their life to remind them how to shine. That's a gift. You're shitting on your gifts. No other way to say it. You're putting yourself in an island where you get to judge, but the price of judgment is more separation. And while you are more isolated in that island of judgment, you are more susceptible to getting picked up by the darkness who knows that they can't have power over you, but they can take the power away from the breath of the Holy Spirit that showed up in your life to inspire you to be more. Wow, that's how sneaky the darkness is. But truly, you're doing it to yourself. Have you ever thought about how we are the only people in the entire planet that cannot see our face? Like, think about it. We can't see our face. We can see it through a mirror, we can see it through a reflection or a picture, but we can't see ourselves. Only others can. Only others can. And this is such a beautiful metaphor because we can only truly see ourselves through the eyes of others and through the reality around us. We need that reflection back to us. We need to see that. And that was beautifully illustrated by one of our greatest teachers, Yeshua. Have you noticed that he didn't write any of his teachings down? He didn't document any of his work. He allowed his disciples to do it for him so that he could shine his light, but it was only as potent as those around him could receive it and then go on to share about it. I mean, that's pretty fierce, right? So, of course, there's like those documenting and scribing it. And then there's those that he taught by full embodiment, like Miriam Magdalene. So that is why as we go into the journey of transcending these planetary spheres, which, okay, if you want to call it a demon, that's fine. He casts out demons. Whatever connects those dots for the story for you, I have no judgment for. Do it. But the one of darkness, he was contracted to do it with his counterpart to illustrate what was possible. And she took it on as a quote unquote demon to illustrate what was possible, to navigate the blueprint of being free of it. The only way to demonstrate that you can truly transcend something, that you can truly alchemize something from dark to light, is to do it. The only way out is through. There's no words needed. She was the walking revelation of that. So part of us restoring this balance and the voice of the Feminae Christi is restoring the light balance from, oh, she was casted out 7 demons, to, ooh, she demonstrated these 7 powers. And we know now that we can do the same. So journey into the power of darkness. We have so much shame around when darkness shows up for us. We do. We've been conditioned to. And I witnessed it even with, some of my beloved souls that come to retreats of mine. And when part of their journey is to transcend something that might be one of their powers, it's still in transcendence, so it might show up as dark. And it takes the most self-control for me personally to not interfere with their process after a deep dive, as this illustrates for them, and they have to transcend it because that is part of coming into your power. You have to have felt the disempowerment to acquire the wisdom and the transcendence and the alchemy to be in the power of it. But once you get there, that was the only way. That was the only way. And that honors the journey of your soul because you elected to take that on when you came here and you knew that you could. And if you need a reminder, you have Miriam, you have Yeshua, you have the divine feminine and the divine masculine Christed principle that shows that we are here to become that, the anthropos. Okay? Think about the cross. We are here, and that is a reminder that we're here to become fully human and fully divine. The horizontal aspect, that's our humanness. The vertical, that's our divinity. That full balance, acquiring that through transcending these 7 planetary spheres / darkness / demons and transcending them to our 7 powers is part of the human experience. But we do not need to jump into even self-judgment when our darkness shows up. We understand that this is the moment where we get to show ourselves that we have acquired the tools of alchemy and transcendence, and you put that to work. But today, given that judgment was so big, I want to invite you to take a minute right now. Just sit here with me. Sit here like you're sitting. I don't know. In my mind, you're sitting right there. Okay. I don't know where you're sitting. Maybe you're driving. Maybe you're standing. Whatever. I'm bringing you in like you're sitting in front of me. So if you can, close your eyes for a couple seconds. Just bring awareness to your breath and just sit. Ask your body intelligence to show you where you might carry judgment in your body. And even if you don't consider yourself to be sensitive, scan your body with your breath and see what feels like it wants your attention. You don't have to have a physical sensation. You can just in your mind's knowing and your heart intelligence know. And now when you feel that, ask Spirit to show you an instance, remind you of an instance where you judged somebody else recently. For the most part, we judge those we love the most. That is just the sad part of it. But also we love them, and that allows them to be our teachers because we're not going to get rid of them. They're in. Try to envision the moment where you judge somebody. And now this is the good part. What were you judging them for? And connect the dot to what that is showing you about yourself that is ready to come to the light. And allow them to be alchemized from somebody you judged to a teacher. And that doesn't mean that you are like idolizing them. Let me tell you, we can judge people that we actually do not approve or condone of what they're doing. But sometimes what they're showing us is that we are meant to be here either helping that type of situation, or we are judging ourselves because we know we could assist more. I don't know. There's so many different ways. I don't want to put thoughts into your mind. But really sit with where you're carrying judgment in your body, because that turns into disease. Invite Spirit to show you occasion, or maybe occasions where you judge very harshly. And then bring light into what that judgment is showing you, that perhaps you are ready to shine more light on for yourself. And moments like that can truly start to alchemize where we carry judgment, where we carry envy. And a beautiful place to practice this, you guys, we are so lucky because we have social media. And we all know social media can be a lot. And social media is the #1 place where people judge. It's too easy. You open your phone and it's like everybody's there. And in your mind, you're receiving it where you're at. So if you're having a day where you feel like bloated and you open up and someone's looking good, you're probably less likely to give them some love. That's just facts, okay? So what a beautiful opportunity to say, oh my God, I feel bloated and ratchet today, but my sister is shining her light. She is anchoring the light while I figure out my stuff. I'm going to give her love because we are one. And so I am just being reminded that even though I feel like this, I am still that. receive it as you, as a reflection of you. And if it doesn't come easy, get in the practice of it. Get in the practice of it. Because you are training your inner judgment antenna to start to see the light, the gift, the inspiration. And just like that, you're alchemizing dark, and you are freeing yourself more of this planetary sphere of darkness that you elected to come here and know how to transcend. And the daily practice opportunities are so simple. They're that simple. Practice. Because what's happening is that we are becoming desensitized to divine humanity. We are. We are starting to have AI create imagery, which makes me sick. Because I create from the heart. I pour everything from vision to execution, from my photo shoots, video shoots. I love to produce. But first, I make sure that I'm bringing it from the inside. You show up correct from the inside out. So what AI is producing and information that's not even put in like human words of people that have really tapped into their inner technology, it's sad and it's desensitizing humanity. So we have to work a little bit harder to really allow ourselves to be inspired by humanity, not cynical, envious, and desensitized from people really doing the work to shine their light, because they're doing it for you. If you allow yourself to receive the gift, you will see that their light is your light. And that was what our master teachers were always showing us. They were never trying to shine a light for you to idolize. They were shining a light for you to know that you can do the same. Miriam, I call her Miriam. You can call her Mary. It's the same. Kuna Matata. Wait, no, Kuna Matata. Tomato. I'm an SL. Okay, let's have a minute. I'm not editing that out. That is staying. I'm balancing my divinity with my humanness. So, Miriam went down in this metaphorical storyline as the one that got 7 demons casted out. Meanwhile, she was truly a master teacher of embodiment, allowing her transcendence to be the blueprint of what we are all here to do, with her counterpart, Yeshua, of course. And that is a balance that we have within. So I don't want all of you out there to be like, I need to go find my Miriam. I need to go find my Yeshua. I mean, maybe yes, but you have to find those balances within you. So your inner teacher guide with your inner embodiment blueprint. So how do you put your own action and embodiment to that which you are receiving? Otherwise, you're all talk, or otherwise you get spiraled into just lessons. You have to find that balance. The Feminae Christi principle is here to help restore that balance. And it's by shining light on some of these teachings. So for today, just a little recap, understanding of darkness, as above, so below, and universal laws that have to harmonize and calibrate. I'm not saying that I want you to go down the rabbit hole of darkness. I'm just saying that there is power in mastering your darkness. So the next time you have a day of shadow, don't add shame to that. Observe it. Observe your emotion without getting pulled into it, and ask, what is this trying to teach me? Where is the power in this? Where is the power in this? And the next time you want to judge somebody, ask yourself, where is the inspiration in this? Where? And allow it to be shown to you. Because your world is a reflection of you. So there is nothing that you are observing that is above you. There is nothing you're observing that is below you. It is all here to calibrate something within you. Closing prayer. I want to just ask for everybody watching to receive clarity in the knowing of where they might be potentially blocked from shadow work that they are here to do to alchemize into greater light, blocked from potentially receiving inspiration where the divine is trying to mirror to them that which is possible to them, and blocked from shining their light to a greater capacity. I ask to shed light on any darkness so that it may come out as an alchemical process to evolution, so they may birth their next level self. And so it is, in all space and time, I am. Thank you for tuning in to the Feminae Christi Podcast. Your presence here is the greatest gift. If you would like to help grow this movement and help this energetic container reach more people, it is also greatly appreciated for you to share with anybody and everybody that you feel would benefit from this container. Your likes, comments, engagement also help me to better serve you. I would love to know what lands with you, what you want more of. Maybe we'll increase the frequency of episodes when it's time. Until next time, go out there and shine that light.